You've got questions, we've got answers. Welcome to the Therapist Question Box, where trauma-trained therapists tackle real questions from real people. I'm your host, Lindsay, bringing you grounded insights you can actually use, brought to you by Therapy Utah. Welcome back to another episode of the Therapist Question Box. We're here to answer your tough mental health questions, so ask away. Today is episode 2 of our podcast on people pleasing. I have Anna Smith with me. Anna, thanks for being here.
Thanks again.
And we will just reintroduce the question and talk about what we do as a people pleaser and how to recover really as a people pleaser. Anna and I both discussed that we're both recovering people pleasers. So we'll go back to the question, which is, I say yes to things I don't want to do because I'm scared of disappointing people. How do I stop being everything for everyone? So as we discussed in our first episode, we talked about why we do this, where it develops, and the origins of it. And the last thing I thought was so important was when you talked about as a mom, when you're cooking and cleaning and you're doing all the things and you're watching everybody relax and rest, and they ask you if you need help and you say, no, I'm fine. But we're really not fine. We're actually very bothered and we would like help. And but recognizing there's not even a fear of abandonment, right? As a mom, I'm like, no one's leaving anytime soon. They're sticking around. So I'm not afraid of that. But why would I say, no, thank you, I don't need your help? When in reality, I'm probably feeling a little resentful. I'm probably feeling like no one's aware of the work I'm doing. But why would I show up and say, no, thanks, I'm fine?
So I go back to our neuro mapping that we have. Everything is wired pretty early in our lives. So the example I like to give to people is I'm the middle child of 5. And there's a 4-year gap between my older brother and me, but I'm born. 15 months later, my little brother is born. 15 months later after that, another brother is born.
Wow.
So I am only 3 years old, and I am and I've got 2 little siblings underneath me at 3. And my mom is a wonderful mom. She is a great mom. She took great care of us. However, I would say that's where a lot of my people pleasing came in with my independence. I think I would have known at 3 that if I'm hungry and I want some crackers, that my best bet would be to do it on my own. To not go get help, because my mom's actually got 2 infants, not even toddlers yet, right? Infants that she is taking care of. Maybe even I would have gone for those crackers and I would have gotten in trouble because maybe I made a mess or something. So I would have learned also that it is maybe problematic to ask for help, or that I get in trouble if I make a mess. So learn to clean it up. Right? There's all these different wirings that happen as an infant. And again, this is not to go after our parents. This is just to learn, where did I learn not to ask for help? But I can see that I would have thought, my mom's really tired, right? She didn't have to tell me she was tired. I would have been able to feel that energy coming from her. Or maybe I did get snapped at, and so I realized it's safer not to ask for help. Any of those things is wired in our brain. It becomes ruts or grooves, whatever you want to call it. But that teaches us how we should kind of go throughout the rest of my life. So even with the mom in the kitchen, right? What was I really wanting? Maybe that someone would just magically know that I actually did want help. And just
magically, that's the key word, by the way.
Magically, right? But they actually asked me and I said no. Right? Because I've learned it's better to do things on my own. Another type of attachment, an anxious attachment, may have learned that, well, if I get loud and I throw a fit, so maybe my baby brother, I'll throw him under the bus. My baby brother would have cried really loud and known that, well, I'm the baby. So if I just keep getting louder and louder and louder, someone will eventually help me. So all of that is just not pre-wired, but it is wired at a very early stage of, how do I get help?
Yes.
My wiring says, don't ask for it.
Interesting. So your wiring is don't ask for it.
Don't ask for help.
And it's interesting because I look at you now and I think you are one of the most capable people I've ever met. And you figure things out and then you share with the team here at Therapy Utah. Like, you really know how to get things done. And as you're saying that, I think, well, that was obviously an adaptive response to, I got to figure it out. I mean, it started with the crackers and now you're doing PowerPoints, but like, you really have figured out how to be like, you've got to figure it out. You've got to do the thing. You're not going to ask anyone to do it, and you will figure it out.
So that brings up a great point, because I would also say I was probably praised
100%
for taking care of myself. So that would have also boosted me and my ego or identity of, when you figure things out, people are happy with you.
Yep.
When you don't ask for help, people are satisfied, or you give them relief.
Yes.
So there goes my identity, all wrapped up in a...
And it just reinforces it, right?
Yes.
It just reinforces that what I'm doing makes me needed, makes me valued and important. So what do we keep doing? We keep doing it, even if underlying is resentment or frustration, right?
Yes. And I think resentment is probably one of the biggest ones for people pleasing. So I often will give my clients the way to kind of get out of people pleasing or to notice it is I'll give them 3 questions. So the first question is, does this drain my energy or increase it? Depending on that answer, the next question is, does this fill me with compassion or does this create resentment? And resentment is anytime we feel like we don't have a choice. If I'm sitting here saying my back's against the wall, I'm in a corner, right? I had to do it. Any of those things should tell me there is resentment involved. And the last question is going to be, is this in my value system? Does this get me closer or further from my values? And depending on those answers, that should tell me either go ahead, this is a good choice, or hey, stop, give yourself a pause, because this might actually be people pleasing and you might actually fill yourself with resentment, drain your energy, and go against your values.
And those questions are fantastic. Does it drain my energy? Does it fill me with compassion or does it fill me with resentment? And is this in my value system? I actually think those questions could be asked in any context and be really valuable.
Yes.
Whether it's people pleasing or not, but to get really clear. Because here's what it does. It really starts to honor me.
Yeah.
I take time to get curious and say, is this who I am? Does this work for me? Is this actually honoring me as a person instead of just managing everybody else and the inertia that's going on?
Right.
Those are fantastic. So, the next question I keep thinking about is when, I think at some point we started to think other people's needs mattered more than our own. And just on Sunday, we had a discussion with my family, and I was telling them that for years, I was more concerned about other people's discomfort than my own discomfort. That I made sure that even if something was said that was inappropriate or, made me uncomfortable, I didn't say anything. I just sat quiet because their discomfort was more important than mine. And yet, as I think about that, I thought it actually also made me uncomfortable to say something. So it was just easier to stay quiet. But in doing that, I recognized that I sold myself out over and over and over again. And so where do we start to gain some self-trust back?
I think exactly where you said, when you're like, I actually felt uncomfortable, right? Just getting really aware that we feel something different. Okay. I would say that's one of the first steps. But the second is we need to figure out what we want and need. We need to actually have an opinion on these things. My kids, it drives them crazy to buy me a gift because guess what? As a people pleaser, I don't need anything. And if I needed it, I went out and got it because I'm also very capable. And so a few years ago, I really tried to be mindful and thoughtful of, okay, is there something that I even just want? Because I have silenced so much of that part of me that said, I actually do want and need things, and be vulnerable enough to believe that someone could give that to me. Oh. And so I started with something simple. First, I'll go to the year before. I got a puzzle board, which I love doing puzzles once a year at Christmas time. So when I got this gift and all the gifts before that, it's like this inauthentic, thanks, this is wonderful. And in my head, I'm thinking, where in the world am I going to put this puzzle board? Now I have another piece of furniture that I've got to find a space for, right? And so I was really mindful that I thought that's not fair to my kids and my family, that I'm unhappy with any gift because I actually don't have an opinion. And so I said, I want a pearl. I lost my pearl. I want a pearl. And I tell you, it was amazing the feeling I got when I opened that. It wasn't, I hadn't even picked it out. So it wasn't necessarily like the style that I maybe would have chose. I loved it. I still love it. It was so amazing that I could ask for something and people could show up. And I would say that's one of the first keys too, is I need to understand that I have needs. I need to want things. I need to believe that other people can show up for me.
What a great story. I mean, thank you for that honesty, because I think often we don't even realize that's what it is. Like, you know what? I've been disappointed for so long or so often that it's just easier not to want. It's easier not to ask. Yes. And so I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to say, while I'm cooking dinner, I'm fine.
I'm fine.
Because I'm actually don't expect you
it's great
to help me.
Yes.
But I'm going to feel resentful inside. Or the gift, I'm actually just going to smile and act like I'm thrilled with the puzzle. Is it a puzzle board?
Puzzle board. Yeah. And I do love it. I actually do love it. But at the time I didn't, because I didn't know I wanted it.
For sure, right? But again, what happens is you start to say, this is a need of mine. And I matter enough to have needs. And I matter enough to have wants. And actually the people around me, I trust that they care about me. They see me.
Yeah.
And I matter to them. I mean, that's what we're talking about, is an experiment of trust.
Of safety.
Safety.
Once again,
it comes back to safety.
Yeah.
And if I don't feel safe, you know what? I'm never going to say that pearl is actually what I really want, because I don't believe you'll care enough. I love that story about the pearl, because I think what you were really finally doing is saying, all right, maybe I trust you enough that what I say matters to you. When I feel there's a want or a need, that you're going to respond. It's like the mom in the kitchen. Maybe it's that, I believe that my people care enough about me that they're going to come and help, and that my needs matter to them. Right. And I think sometimes when we allow that, it's a stage of vulnerability. It's not easy to do. And yet that's where connection is formed. And we also start to honor ourselves. So Anna, if you were to wrap it up, what would you say is like the key thing or one nugget that you could leave with our listeners when it comes to people pleasing?
Give yourself some space to know what you want, to listen, and to say no.
How do you do that?
I always pause before I say yes now. I say, you know what? Can I get back with you tomorrow? Or can I get back with you in an hour? When I'm asked if I want a gift, or when it's Christmas, Mother's Day, all those things, I actually take time to say, what do I want to communicate? People cannot read my mind.
Amen.
Give them a chance to respond, but know what you want.
So take a minute to get clear on what you want, because often we don't actually know.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that's excellent. Anna, I love this discussion. I love the 3 questions. Does it drain my energy? Does it fill me with compassion or resentment? And is this in my value system? When you're talking about giving it that pause, I think those 3 questions would be really appropriate to ask.
Absolutely.
And really get clear on that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for this discussion. I think this is so valuable. I learned a lot, and I assume so many people, and I don't assume, I know that this will be really valuable, because we've all had these tendencies at one time or another. Thank you so much for your time and your insights. For all of you, if you found this episode insightful, if you feel like there are people in your life that could benefit from this, and I know there are, because so many of us are people pleasers, please share it with those that you love, and like and subscribe. It helps us to get our message out. And until next time, take care. That's a wrap for today on the Therapist Question Box. I'm Lindsay Schiss. Thanks for listening. And remember, every question you ask is an opportunity to learn and grow. Brought to you by Therapy Utah.
Hey, this is Kathy Kinghorn. I'm an owner at Therapy Utah. If you'd like to book with one of our trauma-trained therapists, go to www.therapyutah.org. Thanks for listening.